Yeah, here we go. Hi, everyone. If you're just tuning in, you know this by now. We're just doing a quick little sound check. We're making sure that we actually have us on here. Where are we? Let's see.
There we are.
Hey, can you see me already? That's good. So she's there already. I'm like, what's happening? Come. There we are. Ooh. So Isabel, just say, why do I want to call you Isabel today? Andrea Isabel. Can you just quickly tell me, very quickly, you say a hi?
Hi.
Let's see. You've got one viewer. I think that's you, Andrea.
It probably is. I'm sharing.
Why do I want to call you Isabel today? Andrea Isabel. Okay. Can you just quickly tell me, very quickly, you say a hi? Hi. Yeah, okay. Ta-tom. So, hi everyone and welcome to the Savvy Business Show. I am so excited and delighted to have Andrea Isabel Lucas with us today. She is the owner of Bar and Soul and now also the author of Own It All. And we are going to be discussing today how you can own it all. And specifically, Andrea has a very fascinating background for all of you who are brand new to her. She was a teen mom. She was in an abusive relationship. And I am so curious to specifically speak with her today about how, Andrea, did you make that shift to now be running a multi-million-dollar business? Like, can you tell us a little bit more about what that process was like for you?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it was a lengthy process of growing up and maturing, and a lot happened in between me being a runaway as a teenager, having my son when I was 19, later having to flee an abusive relationship and rebuild my life through crisis services. And, there were so many baby steps along the way in that journey, but really there was this one mindset shift that happened. Like there was one thing that really was the catalyst for everything else. And that's what inspired me to write my book, Own It All. And it's really what the title of my book means. It's what Own It All means to me, is this major shift that I had to make. And for me, I think what finally did it was finding myself in the emergency room after being assaulted and realizing that my life was on a terrible path, that I wanted something obviously better for myself. And I realized that no one was coming to get me out of this mess. I really was going to have to save myself from the path that I was on. And that was, unfortunately a rock bottom moment for me, but that was really a very much a light bulb moment as well, when I realized like, oh God, I have to take 100% responsibility for my life from here on out, because no one else is coming along to do that for me.
Oh, yes. And that's so powerful, I think, just when you can get to that. So first of all, sorry, like that all of that horrible stuff had to happen, right? But then just the fact that you saw that and you realized you had a choice here. I think a lot of times we can get stuck, me, myself, being a survivor of depression and also sexual assault, like you can choose in that moment. Am I going to continue to be a victim of my circumstances? Am I going to continue to stay here and stay on this trajectory, or am I actually gonna take the power in my hand? And as Andrea, why do I call you Isabel today? Andrea so beautifully say to us, like it's that radical responsibility that you have to take for yourself and your actions and where you are. So once you of course it was a lot of growing up, but once you kind of figured that out, like how did you in small little increments start to go, okay, this is a choice, this is my responsibility, here's how I'm going to change it?
Well, one of the things that I always try to do is I call it taking the biggest risk that you can stomach right now. So, you start by just first of all, setting a vision for what you would like to have for your life, what you would like to see, what you'd like to change about the way things are today. And then it's really not about perfection or a grand, huge leaps. Initially, it's going to probably look like not that much to someone on the outside, but for you, it might be the scariest thing in the world. Like even just telling somebody about this dream that you have for what's possible that may not to you seem possible just yet. So really, I call it taking the biggest risk you can stomach. And even writing this book was a huge risk. And we were just chatting beforehand about how, nerve-wracking it is, but that the fact that it feels scary is, it tells me that I'm on the right track, that I'm doing something that actually matters to me. And so I think looking for those butterflies in your stomach and that fear, that next step that feels like, oh God, could I really do that? Because every single one of those steps makes you feel empowered. It makes you feel more confident. It makes you believe in yourself more.
Yeah,
and it also increases your risk tolerance to be able to take that next step.
Exactly. And I just love what you just said there. Like it should give you butterflies, guys. None of us who are running bigger businesses by this point, nobody is sitting there and going, this is so much fun and so easy. Like everybody has the fear. And I think Marie Forleo has this very beautiful saying where she's like, let fear inform you. Right? Like let the fear kind of guide you of where you're going. And then the other thing that you said is about the vision, which I know I preach this a lot to the business people in my masterminds and my private clients as well, is like the vision doesn't have to be perfect. You have permission to change the vision as often as possible, but you need that vision to be your North Star so that you can take little incremental steps forward and create the big change that you want to have in your life.
Right. And I think it's too overwhelming to try to set the vision of exactly where you're going to go to next.
Yes.
Like it's much more liberating to just set a vision that you have no idea how you could possibly get to, and know that the timeline is going to be fluid. The steps that are going to get you there, are going to be fluid, and you can be flexible about that. But then opening up to the micro opportunities that begin to show up once you have that greater vision that's coming, in the future. And I think that as far as, having to shift my mindset, I did have to, obviously I had a traumatic experience that made me realize if I was just going to wait around and live my life on, default, there was a pretty predictable course of events that were going to continue to play themselves out. So I did have to be willing to dream of this life that I couldn't even begin to imagine how I was going to get there. And then, the first steps that I had to take were really nitty gritty, like finding a place to live and, figuring out how I was going to pay my bills or buy groceries and all of those things. So, all of that was very unsexy at the time. And yet I held this grander, vision. And I have to say, I'm a big feminist. I ended up being a women's studies major. Like, I'm all about empowering women. And I know that when I say to shift your mindset to take responsibility for your life, like a lot of people, can feel a bit defensive about that because sometimes we are victims. Sometimes we have been the victim of something terrible.
Yeah.
And there's no denying that.
No.
But what happens is, and I think there's power in acknowledging that, for example, if I didn't acknowledge I was a victim of domestic violence, would I have stayed in a terrible situation that I should never have stayed in? So, but the point being that when you are ready to take that next step, no matter what has happened to you in your past, no matter what circumstances you have in the present, you might not like them. You might not have created them. You might have been the victim of something. But when you take responsibility for the future and what's going to happen next, you are empowered, because when you are in that place of victim, it's like, oh, everybody's messing with me, or like life is messing with me and I'm at the mercy of that.
And there's no power in that either. Like you're not really giving yourself any power by staying there.
No, and it's the complete opposite, because you're just at the mercy of circumstance, and it's like, oh, other people have opportunities, but not me, because all these bad things have happened. And there's just really something that shifts when you realize, I always think about Oprah. I know everyone always thinks about Oprah, but, she also survived poverty, sexual abuse, teen pregnancy, all of these terrible things that happened to her. But no one picked her to be the world's most successful woman. She did not get, it's not like when you're born into a royal family and it just gets passed on to you. Like, she really had to pick herself.
Yes.
Despite all the, quote unquote evidence that a lot of people would have made for, oh, well, that's not for me because I'm coming from a disadvantaged background. Like, she had the audacity to choose herself and to take 100% ownership of her goals and what she decided and declared that she was going to become. And I just think, it's such a powerful example of what owning it really looks like.
Yes. And yeah, it's really like you have to claim it for yourself. You have to go and say, because you're right, nobody's going to come and say, okay, now it's your turn. And it's so interesting because I'm reading Denise Duffield Thomas's book right now, Chillpreneur, and when she said that, I feel like, pick yourself, I was like, vomit, like that hit so hard because you're like, yeah, of course, like nobody is going to come around and go, here you go, here you go, here you go. So yeah, so important and so powerful when you can stand in that and really pick yourself. And this is the same for, specifically because we're now talking more to business owners, this is the same for you in your business. You have to pick yourself and you have to pick and claim that this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do. And again, that trust that kind of has to happen. Like, you may not know the hows, but I think the more you are in business, the more you realize it's like you don't need to know how. You just need to know what. Because the what will inform the how. But before you don't know what you want, like before Andrea didn't claim that, like, I'm going to change this, I'm going to take responsibility, here's the life that I want, it wasn't possible for her to even start to get the house. So it's very important for you to know what you want and let that be fluid. Let even that be fluid. Yeah, Andrea, that's so amazing. So tell us a little bit more. I want to like really pivot to the book now and like, where can we find your book? Because everybody needs to read this. I know you have some launch parties coming up. Like, tell us a little bit more about all of that so that we can buy and join and support you, and so that everybody can hear this very important message.
Thank you. So the book, it tells my story starting out with that rock bottom moment for me, and then eventually starting to rebuild my life and really take ownership of everything I wanted to create for my life, the legacy that I wanted to leave in the world, and all the small, unsexy steps that I had to take to get to eventually starting my own business, completely bootstrapping it from nothing, and, being the sole employee, the janitor, the web designer, the, secretary, all the things.
Oh, raise your hand if you can relate to that. Like, my hand's up.
And now we're at a place where I have 5 studios. I have an online bar certification program. I have about 70 employees. So, it really tracks that journey and what those baby steps and every one of those small risks looked like to get to where I ended up. But I wanted it not just to share my story so that it could help inspire others, but I really wanted it to be like usable to the reader. So every single chapter has a theme. There's like, own your time, own your career, own your goals, own your style. And each chapter features a different interviewee of a woman who really exemplifies owning that area of life as well.
I love that.
Very workbook style journaling pages that are super actionable and immediately implementable. So that's a bit about Own It All. And the book is being published by Mango Publishing. Launch date is this Friday, March 15th. It's available for pre-order now on Amazon. If you go to ownitallbook.com, you can get more information about it and you can pre-order your copy now. And I'm also doing a launch party next Wednesday night in Harvard Square at my studio bar in Seoul. That's March 20th. It's from 6:30 to 9:30. I'll be doing a reading from the book, a little inspirational talk. We're going to have some door prizes. We've got open bar hors d'oeuvres. We'll be doing a book signing. So
all the wonderful things.
All the things.
Yes. So hold up, but I'm also curious because I think I saw this somewhere. But you also have a little book club Facebook group or something for people who are joining.
I do.
Yes. So
I have two. So one of them is already started, and that was my early reader group. So a bunch of people got an early copy of the book so that they could be the first to review the book when it comes out on Amazon. And what they are doing is a little 4-week version of something that we're going to launch in an 8-week version after the book comes out. So they are in community in our private Facebook group. We're doing weekly coaching calls. People are declaring big goals publicly in the group. We're all supporting each other. We're working through our implementation workbooks together and really answering to all those journaling prompts from throughout the book and reflecting on, you know, how to apply the content in the book to our own lives. It was funny, like even when I was reading the book, I was doing the journaling pages and still like having, you know, my own light bulb moments like, oh my gosh, I'm totally going to outsource having my laundry done. Like I've been trying to do that, reading through and editing that. But we will be launching an 8-week version of that course after the book is officially out. Exactly. So
Perfect.
That will be same thing, private Facebook community, and there will be an opportunity to join. So if you go to ownitallbook.com, you can pre-order your copy, and there's also a way to get on the mailing list to find out when that becomes available.
Right. And so when we buy the book, the course that will be coming out, does it come with the book? You buy the book, you get it, or is it an additional thing?
If you pre-order the book now, I have some pre-order bonuses for you. I have some bonus material, some recorded meditations and some extra workbook and journaling pages and stuff. That's all free if you pre-order your book by Friday. So that's available now. And then the 8-week course that I was referring to is going to be $25 to sign up.
Wow, guys, what incredible value.
I wanted everybody to be able to take part in it. So.
Oh, I love this, Andrea. Just such a testament to you and your female empowerment and collaboration. And you're just such a kick-ass entrepreneur. I just love seeing you soar and everything that you're up to. So thank you so much for coming and speaking to us a little bit today. Again, we're going to have everything in the show notes. I will be sure to link to where you can pre-order Andrea's book right now if you're an early watcher. If you're getting this via the podcast, the book will be out already, so you're going to be in the $25 category because you have to sign up for that course. I'm a big believer of like having community around you to implement things in your life. Andrea, thank you so much.
Thank you. Right back at you. You're amazing. And I love being able to collaborate together. I can't wait to see you at the party. And just thanks for having me.
Yes. So do come to the party, guys. I'm going to be there. If you don't want to see Andrea, I'll be there. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Love it. All right. Have a good one. We see you again next time on the Savvy Business Show. Bye, everyone.